Lautaro, man, like he said, he avoided calls from his mother all day before the game because he knew she was going to try to convince him not to play because he's injured. Like, should we listen to our mothers?
No.
Listen to a woman.
Yeah, basically.
Wait. How did we get here?
I don't know. I don't know. Like,
I'm not, I'm not
when
impressed.
when Arsenal loses, I lose my morals along with that. So
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shirtless Plantain Show. I'm your host, Tosin, alongside Dean and Coach. Fellas, outside of today, how's everything going?
Yeah, man. It's life.
yeah, what he said. But outside of today, I mean, today sucks hard. And outside of today, life kind of sucks as well. It kind of sucks, but that's okay because I'm rich.
Consistency.
So yeah, that's all. We just trying to be like Felix Wire. Consistency. That's all. You know.
I mean, my cat's
How you doing,
eating-
man? How you doing? You look different. You shining. You got a lot of jewelry on. What's going on, bro?
Hey, man, listen, sometimes you gotta live your best life. That's all you gotta do.
All right, this nigga selling pussy again. I know it. Welcome back.
It's good to see my brothers again. That's all I can say. I'm happy to see my brothers. So, Champions League, we have the final set. It's going to be PSG versus Inter. Before we get there, I'm going to tell you how we got there. Which game you guys want to cover first? Arsenal or Inter? Which one do you want to do first?
Inter.
Okay. That has to be, the two legs has to be the greatest semifinals we've ever seen, right? Because we see, 13 goals in 2 games? I'm glad they took away goals. That's the only thing I can say. I'm so
Basically,
glad.
yeah.
Well, okay. So before we get into the details of that, I'm not particularly mad at people describing this as the greatest semifinal ever. That's fine. But I guess my question to you guys is: we've been watching this sport for a long time. This kind of scoreline is not as common as we like to pretend it is when it happens. And generally, I think we all just, if you put it this way, if you're a Barcelona or Inter fan, as much as it might have been fun in certain moments, watching your teams concede that many goals suggests that your teams cannot defend. So if teams can't defend in a tie, is that a good thing? I'd argue no. I think there are 1-0 games that were better than this tie for me personally. I don't think it's that great if motherfuckers can't fucking keep the ball out their net. I know goals are entertaining, and I suppose entertainment is the point of all of this. But the question is, what makes a tie or a game great? Like, is it goals? Is that it?
Before you finish your sentence, you just spoke like a man who watched 80s and 90s Serie A. That's the only thing I can say about you.
Right. Like I remember when Arrigo Sacchi was the Milan manager and they went undefeated in Serie A and people gave them props for conceding something like, I think it was like 9 goals that season, something like some crazy amount of goals. Like when Mourinho came in and was using all that Roman Abramovich money to run Chelsea and win the league, they conceded 14 goals, and we consider those teams great teams. So are we trying to say they didn't play great games because people didn't score a bunch of goals on them?
No, the Chelsea teams were fucking shit. Let's be honest, though. They weren't entertaining in the slightest. Let's be very frank here, guys.
This man said, "Fuck Damien Duff."
Yeah, no, for real, guys. Guys.
You said it's not Graham
Were those Chelsea teams entertaining? One year, I think they scored like 60-something goals, guys. Come on, guys. They won the league with like scoring like almost 70 goals or something like that, guys. Let's not
Be that as it may, I need you guys to answer my question. What makes a great tie?
I think you can have it both ways. You can have a great tie where it's 3-3 in both legs or whatever, or 4-3 in both 4-3 in one leg and 4-3 in another leg. And you can have a great tie where it's, for example, I don't know, the Arsenal quarterfinal or last 16 against Real Madrid 19 years ago, where there was 1-0 in the Bernabeu and then 0-0 at Highbury, but that 0-0 is the best 0-0 you'll ever see, kind of thing. But nobody really remembers it, mainly because they're probably not Arsenal fans. Also, there was no goals in it. But you watch that game; it's generally one of the best games you'll ever see in your life. And there's plenty of games like that. Do you know what I mean? There's plenty of games where Liverpool have been involved in, actually, to be fair, where it's been very low scoring, but it's been entertaining as hell.
Right. So I just want to make the point that, again, I'm not mad at people anointing this particular tie as maybe the greatest of all time, that's okay. I was very entertained. It was great. I was yelling. You know, everyone that listens to this knows that I have a little bit of a soft spot for Inter as well. So I like how it ended. But the idea that we all just decided collectively as a footballing viewing public that this was the greatest Champions League semi. Bro, some of the year Benzema won the Champions League himself, some of those games were, I mean, I know it was just like moments, but isn't that what this is? Like there were so many moments in this tie that they kind of blend together. There was just too much going on, man. Like, I mean, what was the greatest moment in this? Let's start talking about the game. What was the greatest moment in this game? Was it the winning goal?
It was
say
like,
no.
for me personally, it was Archetti. Because for me, it's just like everything that he's been through in his career, and then to do that at that moment as a center back was just like, oh shit, this is why we watch this game. It's like these little beautiful moments in between. So that was my favorite moment. But
Hey man, he just trying to be like Harry Maguire, man. Just going where he don't belong. Man. Great goal, by the way, great
yeah.
goal. But yeah, okay. There's a
What
lot
was
to cover, guys.
what
So
what
we
was
can
my
start.
what was my favorite
Yeah,
moment?
your favorite moment.
It's definitely not a Cherby because he's a racist, but
Allegedly.
don't tell me allegedly, Rob, anything
Like,
like that.
listen, man. If you can defend that well at age 37,
No, no, no,
If
no,
that's
no,
the new
no,
era of racism, I like that. Give me more of that.
no, 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 no. So it can't be him. It can't be him. It can't be a raging racist. Don't care what he's been through in his
he's
career,
not
man.
raging. He's just a
But
finishing racist. That's all.
for me, I think the best moments. I wanna sound like a boring fighter, but I think the best moments all involved Sommer. To be honest, like some of those saves just didn't make any fucking sense, man. Absolutely incredible saves. I think the one from who was their right back that basically missed from point blank.
Eric
That save,
Garcia.
Garcia, yeah, I feel it was a Garcia cross. But anyway, um, yeah, man, that had me off my seat because it was a great counter attack as well. But yeah, all the great best moments for me involve Sommer for sure, and I don't rate Sommer highly, and I think he's really, really earned his money in this tie. Like it could have been 5, 6 for Barca, and he's made sure it was only 3, or should I say only 6?
Like, guys, imagine like if this game had happened 2 seasons ago, that would have been Andre Onana in goal.
Basically, and you know what that means, like.
Hey, he got them to a Champions League final, so there's that, 2 seasons ago. But yeah, Tosin, did you Lautaro, man, like he said he avoided calls from his mother all day before the game because he knew she was going to try to convince him not to play because he's injured. Like, should we listen to our mothers?
No.
Listen to a woman.
Yeah, basically.
Wait. How did we get here?
I don't know. Like,
I'm
when
not, I'm not
when
involved.
when Arsenal loses, I lose my morals along with that. So don't worry, people. If you're listening to this, I won't talk as much after this because I know I'm about to be wilding out today. So, Tosin, carry on, please.
No, I mean, look, all I have to say about Lautaro Martinez, I've said he's a top 5 striker in the world for a long time now. He's not someone you want to buy for your team, but in this current Inter Milan team, as it's constructed, it's a perfect place for him. Stay here. Don't go anywhere else. Don't try to go too high, too low. You're right where you belong. And he pulls up in big moments for them. So shout out to him.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Like, I still don't like him, but
It's
he's
the
a cap. No,
haircut.
but no, seriously, the guy is a captain. Like, I want to start calling him El Toro just because I feel like he's earned that out of me. So he is a captain, like an actual captain. That's what it looks like. Especially it's not often strikers are captains, but I feel like he is the prototype. That's what your captain looks like when he's your striker as well.
Talismanic.
Yeah, he just does it all, man. It's like, and it's because he leads by example, but he's also vocal as well. And then on top of that, he can be your match winner, on a week-to-week basis as well. It's just, yeah, he's a total package as a captain for sure. But yeah, he really impressed me both legs, to be honest.
You
Especially,
know,
go on.
who also impressed me too, and I want to bring it up because of the video that came out, but Marcus Thuram was really good. Someone said he runs like he has a resistance band on, which is hilarious, by the way. But Arujo, what he did to him, Arujo was defending like he didn't have to. Like it was a choice. Like you're actually a defender, but he was defending like, I get to it next week type of shit. Like when you're at the office, like I put this task off. That's what he was doing. But Marcus is really good. I have to say that Marcus is really good in this game.
I just want to make the point that I do not do that at the office. I'm a great employee. Okay, I don't know about you niggas, but I do my work. Okay, but yeah, another person that deserves credit, I'd say Denzel Dumfries. You know, we've had our little debates about him on this podcast. I think we all generally respect him as a player. You know, in the right setting. You know, as a fullback, no. As anything else on the right side of the pitch, hell yeah. Like a lot of his runs yesterday were, I mean, to my eye, almost there were less winger runs and more inverted runs. He was just running towards goal.
Yeah, so here's an interesting thing. You know, Simone Inzaghi's done it before, kind of thing. But at some points, it was a front three, basically, yesterday, and I think one of the really, really, really interesting things that they do with that, it's a double-edged sword, is they know they're bigger and stronger than Barcelona in defense, kind of thing. So they do the obvious thing and overwhelm them with big, powerful runners, but also with high balls as well. And when the balls like bounce around, kind of thing, the big strong guy normally can just assert himself. You know, the big strong guy is Denzel Dumfries, and I feel like they got a lot of joy that way. Secondly, when they do decide to go long as well, again, they're not really going to go long in behind Barcelona. They're going to go long into the forward, basically, and that allows for the likes of, you know, doped up Mkhitaryan or whatever else to stretch them by running beyond and stuff like that. Even if the ball doesn't get there, it's now pushed Barcelona back a little bit, and Inter can build. They can get the ball to Bastoni to start doing these things. But on the flip side of that, Barcelona can actually also overwhelm them on the wings as well and just start, spamming them with crosses. And that's how Barcelona essentially got back into the game. You know, the ball started getting wide a lot quicker. Yamal just started, flicking it in. And on the other side as well, if it wasn't Rafinha, it was the left back, flicking in as well. So, yeah, I think that's probably the reason why both teams just decided to go for it, because they realised there's obvious ways to hurt each other, and it's a semi-final. We should just play to our strengths here and hope we can defend better when we don't have the ball, basically.
Honestly, I think it's really mostly a function of Hansi Flick's system. It just introduces insanity into any game, really. Yeah. Like when you think about this Champions League, yes, Barcelona are now out in the semifinals. They're not going to win it. But when you think of the craziest games in this competition this season so far, a lot of them involve Barcelona in that high line. Like they go at you and you can go at them. And it's up to you to either be an Mbappe and get caught offside 8 times, or you actually score goals. And there were moments in that game, in the game we were talking about, where I thought if Marcus Thuram didn't run like it was in quicksand, Inter wins this so easily. So easily. But, he provided value in his own way. The hold-up play was tremendous, especially for the winning goal, when he set up Fratesi. He brought it down, he held it, held off his man, turned Araujo, plays it in, goal. So there's more than one way to do this, but I want to give Hansi Flick credit for introducing insanity to Europe, because his Bayern team was a lot like this as well. They just happened to be a lot more ruthless. I think they were better defensively. I don't know if that's a personnel thing or a COVID thing, but that Bayern team felt a little more stable than this Barcelona team. The attacking, fantastic, but every team that played against them in this Champions League season felt like they could get at them.
Yeah. I'll tell you why, though. Joshua Kimmich played right back.
Hey, man. Coach said that thing about Mkhitaryan and doping, and I just want to say, we're in an era of sport where we got LeBron James hooping at 40, soon to be 41. Okay.
You think he's not on the juice as well? Oh, okay, fair enough.
It depends on the kind of juice we talk. Are we talking about HGH? Or are we talking about Tran or or Anavar? I don't know much about steroids. What can I say? But let's get back to this football. Tosin, yes. I felt like even though Barca went down 2-0 in the first half, like they did in the last game, I almost felt like they were playing better in this game than they did in that game, and they were playing pretty good in that game.
They were. They played pretty well in the first half. It just was a matter of just life happened. But then when they went down 2-0, I was like, this game's not over.
Yeah,
it's like it wasn't over. We saw what happened after.
Yeah, is there an argument that, and I know I'm about to be harsh here, guys, but you can yell at me if you want. Yamal, he was fantastic in that game, but I felt that there were so many moments in the game where he just held on to the ball too long.
I was gonna say, I know people were giving him his props yesterday, but I think he was absolutely rubbish in the first half. I'll be honest with you. I think he was absolutely crap, and that's not a criticism of him because I know that he's amazing, but he's 17 years old, so it is what it is, and there's nothing wrong with a player being crap at 17 years old for like 45 minutes. It's fine. You'll live. You won't die if you admit that kind of thing. But he was absolutely rubbish in the first half. With that being said, I think he recognised that in the second half and said, "Okay, guys, I actually owe you because I wasn't good enough." And he showed out straight up and down. He showed out. There's nothing to even
more than made up for it, coach.
Yeah,
More than made up for it.
ridiculous performance, man.
I'm gonna add on to something Coach said. He's 17 years old. He deserves heartbreak. And I'm glad this was his first heartbreak. You deserve a lot more because it'll make you a much better player. You need to get your heart.
Yeah, basically, it's good. I think it's good. We're gonna get onto a team that I feel also deserves some sort of heartbreak
Like,
just
my
to make them
nigga,
better.
what do you mean at 17 you're gonna win La Liga, Champions League, and Euro already?
Yeah, like it's too much. Let's have some couth here, man. Like,
Relax.
Y'all sound like some haters, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, hold on. Yeah, sure, absolutely. But you're not a better hater than me. What you talking about? Because I was thinking to myself, like, wow, this tie was predicted by his father's social media name. Hustle hard 304, 43, 34. They're all along. I could have made so much money on FanDuel if I just gambled based on that. Oh man, maybe next
You know,
season.
you sound like right now. You sound like an Erica Badu song.
Who I'm gonna call Tyrone. But yeah, like I want to say there were so many in that first half, like in the crap period of his game. I felt like he could have made the difference by just releasing the ball sooner because Inter were so scared of him, and rightly so. He was killing DeMarco. Now credits to DeMarco for actually showing up because he was injured and he came in for this game. But that Yamal, even though Yamal wasn't great, he was still cooking this old man, and Barca couldn't take advantage of it because he wasn't releasing the ball quickly enough. But in the second half, like Coach said, he rectified it. So no criticism. But I thought the first person that stood out for me in the Barcelona team, watching him, even in the first half, was actually Eric Garcia. And I'm on the blue sky thingy, and I said he is playing fantastically well. And like 30 minutes after that, he scored the 2-1 goal. And I just thought, we've always known, well, he's not the most popular player, but I remember him being at City, then going to Barcelona, then I think it was on loan at Girona for a season or two, maybe somewhere else as well, then he's back at Barcelona now. And the issue for me was always that he's a little small, isn't really a good 1v1 defender, isn't physical enough, but on the ball, he is quite the fantastic player. Hansi Flick has used him at center back, used him at right back, which is what he did yesterday because Jules Koundé was injured, and he's using it as a 6. And you could see that quality on the ball yesterday. He was really, like, I think some of the good moments that Barcelona had, most of them in that first half, I think, came from Eric Garcia's feet. And I was just really impressed. I didn't expect him to score, but that was just a cherry on top. And he should have had 2 until Summer did what he did, So, yeah. Tosin, Frankie de Jong. Man, what a player.
He's great. Sometimes when he wants to be. When he wants to be great, he's great. That's all I can say about Frankie. But Hansi's found a way for him to play very well. I don't know how Hansi's done it, but he's done it, and good for Frankie.
I'll tell you how he's essentially made him the it's a term we haven't used in a while, but like an anchor, a midfield anchor, and that translates in a whole lot of ways in 2025. The midfield anchor of 2004 is not the midfield anchor of 2025, but what he allows Barca to do is play that high line, knowing that when the ball gets recycled back to him, he's not going to lose it, and he's going to probably find a dangerous pass. And he's athletic enough to track his runners and run back towards his own goal as well. I think it's the best use of his qualities considering the other midfielders that are around him. Don't get me wrong, Frankie de Jong can absolutely play higher up the pitch, but when there's Pedri and Dani Olmo there, you kind of almost have to be like, let me humble myself a little bit. These guys are probably better than me higher up the pitch. It's almost like yeah. I think that's what it is more than anything. So that's part of the reason I think. Also, just he's fit and just playing regularly. Finally,
I mean, he's the most physical option in there, bro. Like,
but by a country mile.
So, as great as Pedri has been with the interceptions, I've seen a lot of his interception stats this season. Again, another function of the system that they're playing. That's just pressing high off the pitch and, having a player that sort of understands patterns and has vision, and he knows what you're going to do before you do it, so he can be in the right spot. In a weird way, even though he's like far less physical, he has that in common with a player like Declan Rice. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but I just thought, it's weird because Barcelona did play well. I don't honestly, just as a general thought, I think any of the 4 teams that made the semifinals could win this competition, and I would not be mad at it. I think these were all very good teams, but this was the right outcome. I think Inter outplayed them across both legs. Despite all the possession, Inter were the better team. And just generally, it's weird because Barca have been really good this season. For the most part, they had a little blip, I want to say, around the turn of the year. But
we called it, though. We called it.
Yeah, we did call it. But I was really unimpressed by their reaction to what, to me, and I don't know if you guys want to have a debate about it, but to me was an obvious penalty. When Lautaro got hacked down by Kubarsi, like, sure, the ball moved, but it's because he kicked through the man to get to the ball. So the ref and VAR did a good job in that situation. Then Hansi Flick bitching after the game. And Barcelona, to me, they lost their heads in that moment, and they didn't really get it back until they scored 1 goal. Up until that point, there was a lot of hand throwing. It looked like Real Madrid playing against Arsenal in the quarterfinals. Just a lot of, I don't know if it's a La Liga thing or what, but it was just horrendous to watch because, when Real Madrid are down, Barcelona is supposed to be like up. And they kind of played in the same way with the same sort of attitude, and it was really disappointing to see, And this is hard to do because Pedri was mostly fantastic. But I want to say it was the worst game I've seen him play for Barcelona in some time, for me. I felt like he lost the ball a lot in dangerous areas and gave Inter lots of opportunities to counter on them. And Inter, man, they don't have pace up top, but they do counter very quickly because they have pace out wide, and there's just so much to talk about. Like, I just can we give 5 minutes to Bastoni? Like, he seemed like the only adult defender across all.
We could talk about Bastoni for a whole podcast if you like. I love Bastoni.
Yeah. Tosin, no, you go ahead. I'll come in after you, pause.
I mean, I think the thing that makes me laugh the most, because I see it with United fans, this is what makes me praise Bastoni. It's like, they would say, oh, why is that 3-back system working to Inter? I was like, well, they've been doing this as content, number 1. Number 2, they have literally some of the best players in the world in each the individual positions. Like, Bastoni's one of the best defenders in the world. Same with Barella and same with Lautaro. But Bastoni, it's just, I don't know where to start about how good this guy is. He's great on the ball. He actually knows how to defend when to step up high, when not to. And he commands it back there. And obviously he's with Acerbi back there. But he's just been great for like the last, 4 or 5 years now. So, he's just an impressive player. And people should watch more Serie A because you'll notice how good he is on a weekly basis. And that's the only thing I have to say about him. Go ahead, Coach.
No, I'm just saying, I totally agree. Like, in terms of what, if people are worried about, oh, yes, it's a back three, playing in the back three is easier. And to be fair, there's a degree of merit there. Like, you've got 3 centre-backs rather than 2, so I understand it. Less space to cover. But the way he plays free at the back is unique to any other player any other centre back, should I say, on the planet. To be frank, like, no, but there isn't even a bad copy of Bastoni.
I think there's a copy.
It's not Calafiori. It's not Calafiori. I'll tell you why it's not Calafiori. I'll tell you why it's not Calafiori, because Calafiori for me in the final third carries a way bigger threat. Bastoni is.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I know, but I don't feel like. But I feel like put it like this: Calafiori in and around the opponent box turns into a demon. Bastoni really does all his best work in the half spaces, leading up to the opposition box, but then really in the half spaces as well. So that's why I'd say there's a bit of a difference there. But even with that being said, he has so much responsibility. I'd argue he's probably I know Acerbi's there, he's the old man, whatever, he's the grand wizard and whatever else kind of thing. But like,
we don't say grand wizard in America, by the way.
Whatever it is, you know exactly what I mean. I'd argue that. I'd argue he's the leader of the defense, to be honest, just purely by how much responsibility he has. Like, everything goes through him.
Yeah, I actually think of him as Inter's main playmaker.
Yeah, this is what I'm leading up to. Everything goes through him because he's essentially the best passer. He's arguably the best carrier. In fact, I'd say he is probably the best carrier.
Yeah, because Inter don't have a ton of carriers.
Yeah. And then on top of that as well, he's probably got the best decision making with his passing as well. And that's crazy to say when you've got Chanahoglu there, and Barella there. But they're different types of players to him. And I think when he's not playing, Inter can't really build up. They don't really know how to build up. He's such a unique player that he has so much. It's almost like, I know you guys have watched the tapes. It's almost like Beckenbauer in a sense. You know what I mean? Like there's an era that where he's essentially the system in one way or the other. And if it's not him, getting the ball and just spraying it between the lines or switching and stuff like that, he's just knocking it over the top to DeMarco to do what DeMarco needs to do. You know what I mean? He's a really, really wonderful player to watch, and he's just unique to my eyes. Like really, really unique.
Yeah, he's definitely special. Speaking of more special people, Rafinha, when he scored the goal for 3-2, did that feel like the Ballon d'Or moment? Like, okay,
Yeah.
I've wrapped it up.
Yeah, it did. It definitely did. That's when I thought, okay, I was like, he's got it. He won it. And then Archevi said, fuck off. Ain't no Ballon d'Or. Ain't none of that.
Yo, but on that goal, though, we've given Dumfries a section of praise. I kind of feel like he fucked that a little bit. Like, because he should have been there for the rebound. When Sommer punches us out, he doesn't really react there. He's almost like about to go dap Sommer up instead of getting to the ball, I think.
Yeah. So I think a part of that, obviously not for the goal itself, not for the actual play itself, but Dumfries changed position, I think, twice yesterday because of the subs that were made. I think Darmian came on and ended up going right centre back. And you noticed how when Inter started getting pushed back, it was because Dumfries essentially came back kind of thing. And the moment they pushed him high again, things changed for Inter as well. So while, he probably fell asleep on the goal kind of thing, sometimes it can happen when you've changed position a couple of times in the match. So it's like you're not sure where to stand, at times.
That's fair. Yeah, we gave Jan Sommer his props. 14 saves across both legs. Felt like it was more.
Yeah, it did.
Felt like 44.
Can someone get up the XG, please? I don't want to nerd that up, but I'm just curious. Like, I know it was something
My
stupid.
computer doesn't search XG.
Man. But there was Lewandowski came on pretty late in this game.
Yeah.
He wasn't fit, though, was he?
So can
He
I
didn't look
ask,
it to me.
there's something about Summer that he did, right? You remember that chance Lewandowski had and everybody's like, oh, Lewandowski missed it?
The
He
header?
didn't miss it. Yeah, he didn't miss it. Summer got his hand on the ball.
Ah.
Yeah.
I haven't actually watched the game or the highlights yet.
I saw it literally as one of the replays. Like Summer literally had a knuckle on the ball and it literally tipped it over just a bit. So Lewandowski couldn't really get his proper.
I wonder if that's the same knuckle he put into Marino's face in the group stage, but I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter, But yeah, like I don't know. Barcelona had 22 shots, 10 on target, and when the game got tight in extra time, it kind of felt like, I don't know if it was fatigue or they just lost the imagination. I know Yamal hit the post in extra time, and there was another Summer save. I can't remember who it was from because there were just so many of them. But in some ways, it felt like they ran out of ideas a little bit. It was just like crosses to Lewandowski. And, there was a one Summer save. And I couldn't really think of anything else. They just kind of ran. And to be fair, they'd given a lot throughout the two legs. So to demand more is just a bit churlish. But it was a hell of a game, guys. It was a hell of a game. I don't know what else we've got to say. I feel like we've covered most of it. I don't know if we talked about the goal specifically. Who scored the best goal across both legs?
Yamal, man, in the first leg. Let's not take the piss.
Okay, so who scored the first goal in this second leg then?
In the second leg,
It was Lautaro.
yeah, I think Lautaro.
But that was a tap in though.
A good counter though.
It was a good counter, but
The Rams goal was also really good too.
Yeah, but it wasn't better than Yamal's, man.
No, it wasn't, but it was really good. It's a good
But
second.
you know what? Actually, no, wait. Let me actually think. No, I'm gonna say the cross from Garcia, I believe, to Olmo
yeah, the Olmo header.
was
That was kind of nice. That was kind of nice.
But again, the reason why I really like that again is what's his name? Is Flick recognizing that's how to hurt Inter. Those deep crosses to the back post, keep spanning them, and it works. I know we're gonna get onto Arsenal eventually, but I just have to make the point here and now and clear. In that second half, in the league phase against Inter, where people claim that Inter just let us go wide across the ball. No, Arteta sussed that.
Back.
Yeah, Arteta sussed that was a way to hurt them, and we got joy. We just didn't score. We got joy, and Barcelona got joy. Across both legs. Even the equalizer, Ferran Torres last week. Do you know what I mean? Cross to
Yeah,
the back
yeah.
post, header back. You know what I mean? Like it's a way to hurt Inter. So
Like
yeah,
low key on the best goal in the second leg of the tie,
yeah,
I'm actually going with Garcia's goal, the 2-1 goal.
great
Because that
counter.
body was not as easy as it looked,
No.
especially if we already gave him props for his technique and being a good on the ball and all that. But you still don't expect that from a
Yeah,
defender. You really
yeah,
don't. So for me, I would pick that goal. I'd say.
yeah.
But yeah, shout out Inter, man. Like I'm pleased. I almost wore an Inter jersey for this, but I'm still in too much pain because my true love let me down.
Let's talk about it. Arsenal and PSG. The floor is yours, fellas. You guys can wax lyrical. I'm just gonna sit here and just let you guys have at it.
Hey man, I don't even want to be here, nigga. like, coach, what you got for the people, man?
Coach is out, by the way.
I did an instant reaction after I left the screening at the Emirates, and I think I did well to summarize pretty much everything that I feel. But just on my way home and just thinking now, leading up to the pod as well, where I really want to focus as many Arsenal minds as possible right here is really, really sticking together. And I don't mean that in the sense of, bury your head in the sand, it's just okay and we'll be fine, whatever. But even though that's how I feel, I mean in the sense of look at everything independently with context and objectively as you can and genuinely ask yourself, do you think the club is going in the right direction? With all things considered. All things considered. From recruitment to players to the manager to commercial deals to progress in the league to progress in the Champions League, are the club going in the right direction? And if your answer to, I want to say, over half of those is yes, you have every right to be upset right now, but don't bury your head in the sand and think it's over. Please don't. So, with that being said, on the game and the game itself, I think our recruitment, and I hate to talk about the recruitment, but our recruitment is essentially where we are falling short, because coaching wise, for me personally, coaching wise, and equipping ourselves in these games, Arsenal belong here. We belong. We belong at this level.
Let me
Absolutely belong at
let
this
me
level.
put it in terms that even idiots can understand.
Yeah.
Arteta coached victories in both games because of a lack of depth and a lack of certain personnel in certain areas of the pitch. We didn't win. That's the way I view it. Maybe that's diluted, but that's how I feel genuinely.
And for me, as a neutral person, everybody that's calling for Mikel Arteta to go, you're dumb. Okay, I'm just gonna straight up say you're just dumb. I'm not gonna be the person that's gonna be nice. You're just dumb. Okay,
Like,
Dean,
like
I'm sorry. They're stupid. It just is what it is.
I agree with you, but I'll also say when you call for a coach to leave because he hasn't achieved some particular landmark that you want him to reach at a certain point, the question is, okay, when you have him leave, who's better that can come in and do a better job than him for sure?
Keith Sweat made a song and it was called Nobody.
So here's the thing. People are gonna mention Simone Inzaghi
We're
fairly
not
or
hiring
unfairly,
him. He don't
whatever.
speak English. Fuck out of here.
Yeah. So no, no. They're gonna say, but he could do it with Inter. I just want to be very, very clear here. You have to look at things objectively and with context.
Context,
Like,
yes.
you absolutely have to. Inzaghi is a top coach. There's no doubt in my mind. He could come to England and do a madness. There's no doubt in my mind, at all, right? But for you to call for him to say, okay, he needs to come in and replace Arteta or whatever. Cool, yeah. There's so many things with this Arsenal side currently that we're going to have to lose, right? Just to gain any sort of semblance of what Inzaghi wants. Like, we're gonna essentially have to start again. Is what I'm telling you. I don't care what anybody says. I think it's the worst thing to do. If you're gonna get rid of Arteta, right? Whatever you do, get a coach that is very, very similar to him. Only because of what the squad that we have here. We don't need to spend another 500 million, 600 million.
Basically, don't be like United.
Basically,
I literally was just about to say, I was just like,
yeah.
we are literally facing this right now where United fans wants to get rid of Ruben Amorim was just like, no, nope. You started this project, you better see this motherfucker all the way out.
Like all of a sudden, I don't know if you know this, but the badge, the pin is starting to shine again. I thought I'd just give it a kiss because I fucking love this club, guys. I love the club so much. And
Here's my last thing on Mikel Arteta, right?
go,
And this is because I'm not tweeting like for a while. Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts in my head that I should have tweeted, but I'm gonna say it now. I don't think a lot of fans understand how long a football project takes for these coaches to get there. Like people are seeing Arne Slot win his first title with Liverpool, whatever. That's because he built off the back of a coach who like literally found somebody who was similar. So it was an easy transition period for him. Mikel Arteta has literally built this Arsenal squad since 2019. Those back-to-back 8 places, you're now a consistent top 4 side, right? Like that's part of the
top
project.
two.
Top 2 team. This is building blocks, right? Next thing you now got to do is upgrade and tweak the squad in certain positions. Then you go further. If you're a total Arsenal fan in July of last year, you're going to finish second and you're going to be a Champions League semi-finalist. Most of you are taking that shit. But because you're not applying context, most of your best players have been injured most of the season. Yet you still made it to a semi-final. And this is somebody who professionally hates Arsenal. I fought people over Arsenal when I was a kid. I'm saying this to somebody who does not like this club. Shut the fuck up and be happy, okay? You're in a very, very good place, okay? You're in an amazing place. I can make all the jokes I want about, oh, Arsenal lost. It's cool. They made a semifinal. You build on that shit next year. How do you get better? You got a better sporting director now. Now you see where you guys can go. And that's all I have to say because some of you guys just annoy me with just stupid banter. But
No, Tosin, you're spot on about the whole sort of look into the future of the sporting director and the progress thing. The progress point here is this is Arteta's second ever Champions League campaign. His first Champions League campaign, he went out to Bayern Munich, who have won the competition 6 or 7 times, in a quarter final, right? First go at it, he got to a quarter final. His second go at it, he's got to a semi final, while smashing Real Madrid on the way there, basically. And the team that he's lost to is a team that has, and again, I'm not taking anything away from PSG, so I need people that are listening to not think this is an excuse. It's just what it is. He's lost to a team that has a monopoly over an entire country, right, of football. That's what it is. That's what PSG are. Love the team, love the coach, but let's call it what it is. They've got the monopoly over in all of French football, whichever way you slice it. Who was sitting next to the guy today? That's very yeah, very very interesting. But anyway, that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that this is a team that can essentially buy whoever they want, have bought whoever they want. They could afford to have Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe and fuck it off and be like, okay, let's just buy Dembele, let's just buy Neves, let's just buy Vitinho, let's just buy Barcola, let's just buy, like, you know what I'm saying? Do like they can just do that kind of thing. And I think it's important to understand and accept that while we can't do those things, you couldn't really see a huge difference in the teams outside of the substitutes that they were able to make. Do you know what I mean? Like you couldn't really split the teams outside of the subs they were able to make. And I think that's where the gap needs to be, and that's where I'm critical. So yeah, the criticism is come. That's why I'm critical, not only of Arteta but of the guys higher up as well. Why hasn't there been? Pardon, sir?
The board.
Yeah. Why hasn't, when Arteta was begging for a striker in January kind of thing, why didn't they push the boat out and say, we'll lose another 25-30 million to get the striker we want in now rather than summer? We'll just take that loss if it means we can get to a Champions League final. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's maybe a function of the fact that this team is run by Americans. They don't, sticking with the project is a good thing, and I have no issues with it. I'm fully in support. I'm with all the rest of the fans. I'm upset because we lost, but I still believe in the project and I believe in the manager. Long-time listeners know that I believed in Arteta before he even got the job. Okay, I predicted this. I deleted my Twitter account, but if it still existed, you would see me talking about him coaching Arsenal as far back as 2014. Okay, like that's how long I've been on this Arteta thing. And I just want to let's talk about the game today.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to
talk about the game because we've done a bit of context now. Where the SPS lads stand on Arteta and Arsenal and all that stuff. But today, it was like watching the inverse of the last game. Arsenal started gangbusters.
Yeah.
Then Donnarumma decided to make all these goddamn saves and piss me the fuck off. There was the save on Martinelli from the set piece from the corner. There was the save from the Odegaard shot that he saw super late and got down to hit to save. And I thought to myself in that moment, in PSG's case, when they came to the Emirates, Dembele shins the ball and it goes in off the post, and they win that game. The two chances that Arsenal got saved in the first, I want to say, 10 minutes of that game were both better chances than the one that PSG created at the Emirates to win that game. So the sport itself in general is about variance. I think Arsenal probably created the most XG of all the semifinalists and scored one goal.
Yeah.
And I don't know who you want to blame, but I don't want to pick on individuals. I think Arsenal played well enough to give people credit, but I saw what I saw, and in this game, it's interesting because when Arsenal's starting defensive midfielder, number 5, got booked at the Bernabeu, coach came in the chat and was like, fuck, live from the Bernabeu. And I was like, bro, calm down. Let's enjoy this moment first. But that fuck was very prescient because in a lot of ways, you can basically boil this tie, Arsenal losing this tie, down to, one, him being absent from the first leg. And basically, in the 20 minutes it took Arsenal to reorganize their midfield, PSG got the goal that they needed in that game. So there's that. Then he comes in this game, and as experienced and as good as he's been for the team this season, and I hate to single anyone out, but this is what happened in the game. He heads the ball back into the most dangerous area of the pitch. It's been a while since I had anyone coach me at football, but that's something that they make you practice over and over again. You head it out of bounds or you head it to the side. He put it straight back into what they call zone 14, where most of the best chances in the sport are created from. And Fabian Ruiz, credit to him, incredible finish. I know it deflected off Saliba, but I get the feeling that even if it wasn't deflected, it might have gone in anyway because he hit the fuck out of that shit. So there's that. Then on the second goal, he had an opportunity to clear it before the ball ended up with Hakimi, and I don't even know what the fuck happened there. But again, it was his fault. So in a lot of ways, he sort of was the determining factor in this tie from my perspective. And it's not to blame him because for the most part, he played okay. It wasn't his best game. I thought his touch was a little sloppy, which made me feel as if he probably needed more minutes in the games leading up to this game because he looked like he often looks when he's coming back from injury. But ultimately, he kind of cost us the tie. It just is what it is, and, we all know the reasons why we don't talk about him much on this pod. But there was a rumor before the first leg of this tie that the club was considering renewing him. And I got to say, if Berta and Arteta were watching this like I was watching this, that consideration needs to go the fuck away like an hour ago. Like it's just time to move on. Close the chapter and move on.
I think the most annoying thing about that is the fact that we've basically confirmed that Jorginho will be leaving. I think losing both of them would be very, very poor. As much as we need to see the back of 5. Losing both of them would be very, very poor from the club. I think.
That said, how long do you need to learn from these motherfuckers, man?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. I think it's more about quality rotational options. But on the game tonight, I think our start pretty much let me know how far this team can go. Like that, basically, because. Put it like this: this is a team that is doing it without their best centre back, without their best number 9 kind of thing. And those two, I don't care what anyone says, right? Arsenal have conceded a lot of goals from set pieces, right? But those two have been missing combined for, let's say, half the season now. At this point, if we're being honest, right? Them two help loads on defensive set pieces, but they also help loads on attacking set pieces. But they both allow us to get footholds in games when things might be getting away from us as well. Whether it's a solid defensive performance or whether the ball is going up high and then you're able to bring it down and win a foul kind of thing, like those things matter so much. And you saw even with the little that Mourinho did do in that regard kind of thing, how much it helped the team, how much we could get the ball to Saka in a short distance higher up the pitch. It helped us so much. And I think PSG, put it like this, PSG's technical midfield was great and whatever else kind of thing, but we didn't really see much of it today, because the game didn't call for it. We didn't allow it. We were so direct and we were so fierce and we were so aggressive that all of their technical qualities didn't really matter, and it became a dog off, which I personally don't mind. Football is football. At the end of the day, you got to play the game that's there, play the game that's available, basically. And if Arsenal if we want to make it a passing game, I have no doubt that we could, especially with 5 there. I have no doubt we could have more than held our own if it was a passing game, but they're obviously very, very weak when you go direct and go quick and go fast kind of thing. So why not lean into that? Do you know what I mean? Why not play to their weaknesses and to some of your strengths? I just want to go back to their first goal. Look, Declan Rice had a bad first touch, man. That's really what it is more than
Yeah,
anything.
to give up the free kick.
Yeah, he had a bad first touch,
He had
and
a bad first half.
yeah, to be honest, it wasn't a great first half.
Like he missed the very first chance of the game in the third minute. Like he headed wide when he should have scored, you know. But for me, that set the tone. You know.
Yeah,
But
basically.
back to you, coach.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I don't think he had a great first half, but that first touch really just annoys me because of what could potentially come after it. You know, they'll talk about Rice not being able to do this, not being able to do that kind of thing. It's that every single midfielder on the pitch today, in fact, every single player on the pitch today, had at least 2 or 3 bad first touches. It happened to everyone, kind of thing. Yeah. It's very, very, very unfortunate that his one led to the goal. And to me, that's the goal that essentially just killed the tie. Regardless of what we were going to do, I think them being 1-0 up at home, just it really psychologically it was too much. It was way too much on the players, I think.
I don't know. For me, I didn't necessarily feel as if the game was gone at that point at all. I was fairly comfortable. I just felt like we just needed to score as quickly as possible.
Yeah, exactly. But again, you say, you know, trying to score as quickly as possible. You're not. We've done well to quieten the crowd. Don't get me wrong. The crowd were magnificent, but we didn't feel the pressure from the crowd. Number one, which was good. No, but they've got a goal now, kind of thing. So now we essentially need 2 goals to tie up the tie. Don't get me wrong. We're capable of getting them. But in a semi-final, right? In a semi-final where you're already stretched physically with how many injuries and how many players are available to you, kind of thing. It's a mountainous task. It really, really is, and that's where had it been a different story where everyone was fit and available and we just fucked up a little bit, kind of thing. I'm like, oh yeah, Arsenal can turn it around, no problem. You know, a few balls into Kai Havertz. You know, get Pacho and Marquinhos shook. By the way, them two weren't good today. I don't think at all. They weren't good. But get.
This is hater shit. I admit it, but it's easier to accept the loss when you feel as if the team you lost was better. I don't think PSG is better than Arsenal, and this is an Arsenal that again is lacking a lot of their main parts, and PSG has everybody. The closest thing to an injury they had was Dembele, who still came on with like 20 minutes left to come jog around a little bit. But until the last 5 minutes or so, I really felt like Arsenal could do it. You know, I think it was when Bukayo missed the chance, the open net at the end after he'd scored a goal, and he misses that open net, which can happen to anyone. You know, I can't even like I watched the replay and I was like, I can't really judge the technique. Maybe if he like went with his studs instead of his side foot, it goes in. But I can't really judge it because most of the time you score just putting your foot on it there, and it went over the bar. But once that happened, then I started losing a little bit of faith. But up until that point, I felt like Arsenal were in the game the whole time. You know, Arsenal were never really overrun in periods of this game like they were at the Emirates in the first 20 minutes. If anything, it was PSG that were overrun at the beginning of this game. Yeah. And sort of like the turning moment for me, and again, you know, it sounds like I'm blaming individuals. I'm just telling you guys what I saw in the game. There was a moment in that first half after a couple of I want to say around the 15-minute mark, you know, like maybe like 5 minutes before PSG scored or before Kvaratskhelia hit the bar, where Odegaard had a lot of space to run into.
It happened twice.
And he kept running, and he just didn't shoot. And I feel like that was the moment we gave the initiative up. That's when it became a back and forth game as opposed to we just going to keep you in your half and pound you until we get a goal. In that moment, we sort of lost something for me personally. It wasn't the costing moment. I already called out 5 for, you know, making those defensive errors, but there's something to be said about when you have your foot on a team's neck, you keep it there. Like if you shoot and it goes out of bounds, great. Fine, whatever. If you shoot, you get it on target, Donnarumma saves, that's fine. But to not shoot at all, to be passive in that moment, after you started the game so well by having a chance that Donnarumma made a great save on, it's like, bro, what is going on, man? I just can't wait for next season, you know, because that's not the Martin Odegaard I know. That's just not him.
Yeah, I think I genuinely do think there's something up there. But those 2 instances that you're talking of, really and truly, if he shoots one of those, because again, it's top level football in a Champions League semi-final, you get 2 of those a game, really. You shoot one of those kind of thing. So if you shoot both of them, one of them should go in, I think, just by the law of averages. Whether it's via deflection, whether you catch it sweetly or not, one of them should go in. I mean, that was Fabian Ruiz's only shot, I think, in the game as well. And it flies in via a deflection. Do you know what I mean?
His first goal in Champions League.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just about in those moments, just going for it. But yeah, just on
And
just on.
I want to make the point before you go on, Coach, that every chance PSG had early in this game was a direct result of an Arsenal error, like an unforced error. Just, I remember Miles Lewis Skelly playing a pass that got intercepted. I remember Saliba playing one that went to Barcola. We just, and that's not to say the team weren't mentally prepared for what they were doing. I mean, they clearly played very well. But again, it's a reflection of the quality of this team that most of the trouble they get into is because they do it to themselves as opposed to a team breaking them down.
Yeah, no, you're spot on, and I think in a way that's a skill that opposition teams probably have recognized as well. So you have to give them credit there, knowing that, let's call it what it is. Where despite us scoring a bunch in the Champions League, yeah, like in a game like this, teams know that if they keep it even tight just by dropping back another 5 yards kind of thing, our attacking threat is kind of nullified in a way, and they know that the more we commit, there's going to be more space in behind, regardless of if we make a mistake or not. There will be a space there. So when we do make a mistake, you've got the red arrows in Kvaratskhelia and then Barcola and then Due to run into that space. So you're gonna look weak. You're gonna look exposed. But yeah, look, our attack, right? It is what it is. We've got Leandro Trossard, and if we get rid, we're gonna miss him. We're gonna need to replace him with something of similar or better quality that we use in the same manner as him, because
I don't think it'll be that hard.
The point I'm making is that when we talk about rotational options, he is by a country mile our best rotational option in any area of the pitch. By a country mile, he's our best rotational option because he always provides something when he comes off the bench or when we need him to do something in a game where we're giving minutes to somebody else. And to find that sort of player will be. I don't think it'll be as easy as you're making out. So especially someone that's happy to be a rotational player as well.
Is he though? He's the grumpiest motherfucker at the club.
Yeah, well, he's still here. He's still here. What I mean?
Because we paying him. I'm just saying it's not the end of the world. Like if Arsenal choose to retool their squad over the summer, which they should, it's not a big retooling required, but I don't think it's the end of the world if we lose a player like that.
But what I'm talking about is that profile and that option there, because the next best thing is essentially relegating Martinelli to it, which I think we should do anyway. So if we relegate Martinelli to a rotational player, will he have the same impact as Trossard? I don't, because Trossard has a lot of tools. Like he has a lot more tools than Martinelli, even though he doesn't have the pace.
But Martinelli has the tool, pace.
Yeah, he has pace.
Pirate players don't like pace.
Yeah, and that's fact. So, I don't want to talk about transfers and the future stuff like that just yet, but just in a game like today, like bringing him off the bench and the difference that he made, I need more of that next season from whoever we sign or don't sign kind of thing. But yeah, look, Saka got his goal, so I still won. Do you know what I mean? He got a goal at the Bernabeu, got the goal at the Parc des Princes. Not an amazing game, but he still cooked his man and he still created some of our best chances and brought out a ridiculous save from Donnarumma as well.
Yeah, and that 64th minute save where he went for the top corner, like, man, I thought for the life of me that was going in.
Yeah.
Shame. But yeah, I'm disappointed, but proud of the team. That's for sure.
And I think I'm just gonna round off by going back to my point about sticking together again, guys. That in a way you just kind of have to over celebrate, and you have to be around your people, and you have to treasure every moment, because let me tell you something, football is the cruelest of all sports, right? It's so cruel that you literally don't know when your next win might come from. You don't know where your next win's gonna come from. You don't know where your next trophy's gonna come. So when you beat Real Madrid 5-1 over 2 legs and you beat them home and away in the Champions League, celebrate that shit like you're never gonna win anything again.
And
because guess what? The next round you might go out even though you out XG the team. Go on.
I was gonna say, to wrap it all up, a philosopher once said, "A rival fan calling you sensible is the same as a woman calling you a smart man." Or whatever.
That nigga said that nigga was spitting. Let me tell you that right now. That nigga was spitting.
That nigga sound misogynistic to me.
He sound like Jay-Z.
He sound like me.
But yeah, Inter and PSG are in the final. First time they've ever played in any official competition. Isn't that crazy?
I need Inter to wrap that up, man. Fuck, I'm not having this Qatar Khalifi shit. Fuck out of here with all that.
Yeah.
Man. Like, PSG are likable, but not that likable. That fucking much.
Nah. So If you're interested, Europa League's tomorrow. I'm happy because
Boo, boo, nigga, boo.
I don't know how the hell we're like 90 minutes away from a final. But that's all we got. We're out. Everyone take it easy. Peace.
Peace.
Hey folks, this is Deen from the Shirtless Plantain Show. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and follow us on all our socials. You can see them right beneath our recordings in every video. Thanks again, and see you on the next one.